Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week wisdom and legacy building podcast. This is day 796 of our trek, and it is Wisdom Wednesday. We continue this Wednesday to explore our trek of interpreting life through a biblical worldview. As a Christ follower, it is important to view all situations and events in life through the lens of the Bible. That is a view of the world that is aligned with what the Bible teaches. We are exploring current issues that will impact our world and society and comparing them through the lens of the Bible, instead the lens of society, culture, modern media, or even social media. I do not desire to tell you what to think, but to teach you how to think, so that you'll be able to filter the current issues and events through your biblical worldview. I may explore opposing views and challenge you to think. You may not always agree with my view, and that is okay. I am open to any comments that you may have on the subjects that we explore. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. The past few weeks we've discussed that a biblical worldview should incorporate within it the sanctity of all human life. My personal biblical worldview includes a strong conviction and belief that all life is precious regardless of whether it is an unborn child or someone who, through advanced age, illness, or accident, may be nearing the end of their lives, or at least being severely restricted in life. One reason our modern society devalues life for certain segments of our society is that we have a warped view of God's love for us, our love for God, our love for others, and our love for ourselves. A proper love for ourselves will include the realization that we are created to be bearers of God's image. As a Christ follower, we must understand that our bodies are the dwelling place of the Holy Spirit. Proper love for self will include love and respect for others. The entire #MeToo movement stems from the fact that certain men and women don't respect or love other persons, their bodies, or the sanctity of life. Because of this, they abuse others physically, emotionally, and mentally. I recently came across a web interview in the Christian Post with Nancy Pearcey, a former agnostic who teaches at Houston Baptist University. Nancy recently published a book titled Love Thy Body, Answering Hard Questions About Life and Sexuality. For this week and next, I will share some of the insights from this interview as it closely aligns with my biblical worldview on the core concepts about the sanctity of life. If you'd like an in-depth analysis of this topic, I recommend that you purchase Nancy Pearcey's book that I mentioned earlier. So our topic for today is the sanctity of life, loving yourself. Arguably, no subject divides America and most of the Western world more passionately than what it means to be a human being, especially when it comes to sexuality, identity, and the body. What lies between the bitter cultural squabbles over physician-assisted suicide, abortion, same-sex marriage, and transgenderism is a secularist ideology that wages war against the human body. Pearcey, who The Economist describes as America's preeminent evangelical Protestant female intellectual, stresses in the book's introduction, we live in a moral wasteland where human beings are desperately seeking answers to hard questions about life and sexuality. But there is hope. In the wasteland, we can cultivate a garden. We can discover a biblical worldview of reality-based morality that expresses a positive, life-affirming view of the human person, one that is more inspiring, more appealing, and more liberating than the secular worldview. Human life and sexuality has become the watershed moral issue of our age. The daily news cycle bombards us with stories related to sexuality, abortion, assisted suicide, homosexuality, and transgenderism. A secular orthodoxy is being imposed through virtually all the major social institutions, academia, media, public schools, Hollywood, private corporations, and even the law. In Pearcey's book, Love Thy Body, she moves beyond the trendy slogans to uncover a worldview that drives the secular ethics. As a former agnostic, she gives an insider's roadmap to postmodern moral theories, showing how they devalue the human being and destroy human rights. While to some people, assisted suicide seems like a compassionate course when someone has lost cognitive or physical capability through illness or accident. We explored this topic on our last Wisdom Wednesday episode. Assisted suicide is a good example how secular ethics devalues human beings. Bioethicists defend assisted suicide by proposing a distinction between being biologically human and being a person. If you lose a certain level of cognitive awareness, so the argument goes, then you are no longer a person that is fit to live, even though you are obviously still human. With a secular worldview, you can be unplugged from life-sustaining equipment, your treatment can be withheld, your food or water can be discontinued, and your organs can be harvested. The implication is that being a human no longer guarantees human rights. As per se writes, the call to love your body is a call to consider this drastic devaluation of human life. A biblical worldview says that all humans are persons and are worthy of dignity and rights. It holds to the sanctity of all human life. Another topic that has come to light recently is the casualness of physical relationships with someone who is not your spouse. In some circles, the hookup culture is now broadly criticized in light of the #MeToo movement. The sad fact remains, though, that there is little conscious effort or movement to change this based on biblical morality. The hookup culture rests in the same devaluation of the body. The assumption is that sex is purely a recreational activity cut off from the whole person, without any hint of love or emotional attachment. Young people know this script all too well. In her book, Percy includes poignant quotes from college students like Alicia, who says, "Hookups are very scripted. You learn to turn off everything except your body and make yourself emotionally invulnerable." And a senior named Stephanie chimes in, "It's body first, personality second." The stereotype is that men are happy with this hookup culture, but a British singer, Sam Smith, in Stay With Me, sings about the pain and emptiness a guy feels after a one-night stand. The character in the song is begging the other person to stay with me, longing for human connection that goes beyond just the physical. The hookup mentality comes out of a Darwinian worldview that treats the human being as nothing but a physical organism driven by physical impulses. No wonder it's creating such a trail of wounded people. They are trying to live out a worldview that does not fit who they are truly created to be. There will not be a genuine turnaround unless we address this underlying worldview. A biblical worldview includes the sanctity of all human life and a mutual respect of love between a man and a woman, but only within the union of a marriage. A physical relationship outside of marriage is a very slippery slope based on a secular worldview that is not grounded in God's precepts. Marriage is a very sacred union based on our love for God, love for each other, and love for yourself, including your body. As we are told by Jesus in Matthew chapter 19, verses 4 through 6. "Haven't you read the scriptures?" Jesus replied. "They record that from the beginning God made them male and female. And he said, this explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Since they are no longer two, but one, let no man split apart what God has joined together." Next week on Wisdom Wednesday, we will continue on the subject of love for yourself and your body as we explore the concept of same-sex relationships through a biblical lens. If you have any topics that you would like us to cover, please email me at guthrie@wisdom-trek.com. Tomorrow we will continue with our 3-minute wisdom nugget that will provide you with a bit of wisdom that, if followed, will allow you to grow healthier, wealthier, and wiser each day. So encourage your friends and family to join us, and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. That will finish our trek for today. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 795 treks or read the Wisdom Journal, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. You can also subscribe to iTunes or Google Play so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.